Okay, hi there everyone. Welcome back to Tina Teach. So this is a continuation of the Python series that we have going on. Since we're done with, the Python basics when it comes to variables, constant, let, different scopes, different, methods, functions, and whatnot. We've already gone through the basics. Now we're going to put that into practice. We're going to start doing some projects, okay? I'm going to assume that you've already know the basics. You've already got some sense of Python syntax and its logic. But just for those who are curious and this is their first time watching this video, I'm going to be explaining very briefly each element, each statements, each expressions, very briefly, just so you get the idea of the code working without, spending hours learning the basics. All right, so we have Visual Studio Code here, and this is just a simple Python file. And we're mainly going to be using two things. We're going to be using the input method and the print. Okay, input and print. If you already know, this is printing stuff. We're going to see the results in the terminal. Print, this is printing stuff. This is printing stuff. That's how printing works. As for input, simply, the statement just takes the user input. So whatever you put in, it takes that and it stores in a variable, which is the case in this lesson. And this is not going to be anything complicated. We're just doing, simple things. We're going to ask questions and we're going to see if those questions are correct and then grade the users based on their inputs. So we're just like making a test, right? First off, I'm going to be giving some context. So instead of diving straight in, I'm going to give some context. Hello there. Oops. Let me change my keyboard real quick. Hello there. For our first project, let's have a test. All right. And if I run this, hello there, for our first project, let's have a test. As simple as that. Moving on, we're going to be creating a variable. But this variable will contain a prompt which will enable users to input values, and then that value will be stored in the variable. Instead of the variable having a fixed value that you give to it straight up, it's going to wait for the user to input something, and then it's going to use that input as its value. Okay, variables are very flexible like that. I'm going to give my variable, let's say, answer. Okay, we're going to go with answer. Input. Now this is where we put the prompt in double quotes or single quotes, whichever you prefer. But if you're going to choose one, do make it consistent throughout your code, right? I'm just familiar with double quotes, so I'm going to use double quotes. To play, say yes. Otherwise, it's a no. Okay. This is a sad face. Otherwise, it's a no. And I'm leaving some space here because when you take a user's input, they don't do it on a new line, right? And if you don't have a space, this is going to pair the user input and this prompt together, which is going to look a bit weird. Moving on to conditionals, right? We have the input. To play, say yes, otherwise it's no. That's a conditional if and else right there. If answer dot lowercase, right, does not equal to yes. So if it was equal to yes, this is the operator that you would have used. But we're going if not equal to yes, all right? But not quite. Meaning, if the answer is anything but yet, program's gonna stop right there. Okay, it's just gonna stop. Otherwise, print, let's get started. And then we're gonna declare a new variable. Naturally, since this is test, we need a score. I'm gonna make it a grade, and we're gonna start it at 0, okay? Make sure to have a spacing over here. My bad, because since, Python doesn't operate with the semicolon like JavaScript would, it relies entirely on spacing and indentation to deduce whether or not certain statements go together. Okay, so before we move on, let's check our Python code in the terminal. Hello there, for our first project, let's have a test. To play, say yes, otherwise it's a no. Going to go ahead and say yes. So let's get started, right? Now let's run that again. If we run it again and we say no, well, it quits. Nothing else would move on. How about yes, please? Okay, it also quits. Therefore, our if and else is quite strict in this case. But this is the most simplest, the basic form for us to get familiar with the different ways that we can utilize this in various projects. Now let's go ahead and move on with another input. We're actually going to kickstart the test right now, okay? When we already have a grade, and now we're going to give the users some questions. Let's work with 3 questions for now. You have very basic. Answer equals to input. What is 100 plus 100? Very simple. If answer dot lower, or lowercase, equals to 200, print that is correct. And then we're going to add, well, we're not going to add, we're going to increment the score by 1. Else, print that is wrong, sorry. Okay, let's go through, this block of code step by step right here. We have answer, right, which is the variable that we've established up here, and we use the input method to get the user input with the following prompt: what is 100 plus 100, sorry for the lack of question mark, and a space to separate the prompt from the user input. And we're using a conditional statements. If answer, which is lowercase, equals to the operator, equals to, instead of this operator, which is the assignment operator, that's different, to 200, print that is correct, and my bad, not score, it is grade. Print that is correct, grade increment by 1. Else, print that is wrong, sorry. All right. And for the following questions, we're going to be using the exact same format. We can do this again and again. Answer equals to input, what is the color of the sky? If answer lowercase equals to blue, print blue is correct. You get 1 more point. And then increment the grade once again. Perhaps I should have used score instead of grade, right? But I keep forgetting that this is a test. Else, print that is wrong. Try better next time. All right. For our first question, we're using integer. For our second question, it is string. For the third one, let's try Boolean. Answer equals to input. Let me see. Is this test difficult? Right? If answer dot lower equals to true, print good for you. Grade increment by 1. Else, print maybe study more, right? Maybe study more. We have 3 questions now, right? The first one concerns integers. The second one concerns strings. And the third one concerns Boolean. Now, our next step is to aggregate all of these points and then show it to the user. Show the end result of how they did on this test. And we're going to print, no need to use conditionals, you got, and we're going to append. And grade, okay? I want to dive a little bit into this because grade is, as you know, up here, it is an integer. When you append a string and an integer, that can be problematic. To make our job easier and to reduce unexpected behaviors, we're going to convert grade as an integer type into string. This is what it does, okay? And so we've appended this grade by transforming it into a string, appended it to you got. Continue on with questions correct. Print congratulations. All right. Now, after all of this, you got the following grade as questions because 1 plus 1 plus 1, right? We're doing it incrementally by unit of 1. So we can use the grade as a measurement of the total number of questions. And lastly, we say congratulations. All right, now let's see how this all works out for us. Hello there. For our first project, let's have a test. To play, say yes, otherwise it's a no. I'm going to say yes. So let's get started. What is 100 plus 100? I'm going to say 200. As you can see, there's very interesting behavior, right? We've got 200 here and 200 here. But why is it incorrect? I'm going to show you how to debug this later. It's actually a lot more simpler than you'd think. But at the very least, we can continue with the test. So we failed the integer part, right? Which we're going to fix in a bit. What is the color of the sky? I'm going to go blue, right? I'm cheating on the test. Blue is correct. You get 1 more point. Is this test difficult? True or false? And I'm going to say true. Maybe study more. You got 1 questions correct. Congratulations. All right. Now, based on this, what can you say, like, how can we improve our code so far? Well, first off, even though we answer these correctly, it still yield a negative, response. Instead of going with the if, Python went with the else. Why is that? Well, for our input, it is a string, right? 200 here is a string. True here is a string. They do not evaluate into the corresponding type that, the if statement expected. So for the first question, if expected 200, here it is classified as a integer, but when we give our input, this is a string, right? That's just a natural behavior of the input method. Whatever we put in, it is a string. And the same goes with true. Now for the last one, just simply forgot to add space, all right? Petty mistakes, but it does happen. We're gonna make these strings. I'm gonna make this lowercase 2. All right, now let's run it again. All right, yes, let's get started. What is 100 plus 100? 200. That is correct. As you can see, the string that we've given here corresponds to the string here. What is the color of the sky? I'm going to go with blue. Blue is correct. You get 1 more point. Is this test difficult? True. Good for you, right? You got 3 questions correct. Congratulations, right? This is a bit of a weird test, but I hope that you understand the basic logic behind it. So that's it for the first lesson concerning Python projects. Do have fun experimenting, mess around with Python. You learn the most from your mistakes and your failures. Trial and error is the way to get good. Okay, so I hope that you have a wonderful time. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Learn today, better tomorrow, and see you next time.